Welcome to the Crazy Sock Lady Podcast YouTube channel. My name is Kay, and this is my channel where I share about all of my knitting and crocheting adventures. So it's Scrappy Sunday. It's new month, it's February, so I have some new Scrappy projects to share with you guys, some progress on my languishing Scrappy Sunday whips, and I actually have two finished Scrappy projects to share with you guys. So I hope that you guys are settled in this Sunday with your scrappy knitting. Maybe you've got some coffee, some scrappy crochet, and you're ready to chat a bit about it. So let's jump right in. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as The Crazy Sock Lady. There will be links right down below this video in the description box to everywhere that you can find me, links to the Ravelry group for the podcast, links to projects, show notes, all that is right down below for you guys. So over the past month, I feel like I've gotten a good bit of work done on scrappy things. I have two finished objects that we'll chat about in a bit. I've started one new scrappy project. The weekends are kind of busy. I don't always have all day Sunday to work on things. If you're new and you're not familiar with Scrappy Sunday, hashtag Scrappy Sunday on Instagram. I love to post about scrappy things on that day, work on my scrappy things on that day. Otherwise, they tend to not get any work if I don't set one day aside to binge work on all of them. And some Sundays, it's not only scrappy things I work on. I may pick up something else and work on it throughout the day, but I like to just even take half the day and work a little bit on each of my projects, or if one is really calling to me, I'll work on that all day, or all of the allotted time that I have. So I feel like with as busy as our weekends have been, I've gotten a good bit of work done on the projects that I've had. So I can't wait to share those finished things with you guys. But first, I want to show you the newest Scrappy project. And with this newest Scrappy project, I wanted to make sure that I chatted about the fact that I don't think that Scrappy projects only have to be from your leftover bits of yarn. I've had a couple of questions lately. Oh, I don't have enough leftover bits. I have mini skeins. Does that still count as something that's scrappy? Of course it does. Of course. I have one of my finished objects that was not from leftover bits at all. It was from mini skeins that will, like I said, we'll chat about the finished stuff in a bit. But this newest project is not from leftover bits at all. It's from mini skeins that came from a swapless swap that was done a while back in the Crazy Sock Lady podcast Ravelry group. And I started a pair of socks with that set of mini skeins. So I just have this in a little basket here, which is not the best because if you've been following me for a while, you know that Calvin, one of our cats, loves yarn. So I have to be very careful with this on Sundays. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. Calvin just walked in the door. I apparently did not shut the office door. I don't let him in here because he loves yarn a little too much. Oh, Calvin, your timing is impeccable. He's wandering around the room now, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on him, but yes. Okay, that was funny. I have to be careful with this on Sundays. I can't really keep things in a basket knitting wise because if it's out of this office door, or if I don't shut the office door all the way, like I apparently didn't when I came in here, then he will take the yarn and he will run off with it. It'll be a tangled mess. He will hide it. He likes to hoard it and hide it under Wyatt's bed. He's a crazy cat. So he actually took one, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, and was wrestling around on the floor with it. He's just wandering around right now looking for what he can get into. But I picked this basket up at Rhinebeck 3 years ago, maybe. And it needs to be reshaped. Look at it. It's a little crooked, but it does the job. I've got all of my mini skeins in here. There were 10 40-yard mini skeins. So they're all in here. I wound them into little cakes. And I've got them all sitting in there, and I've just kind of been picking up as I go. I don't really have any rhyme or reason to how I'm doing it. But here's what I've got so far. So I cast on 64 stitches. I did 20 rounds of knit 2, purl 2 for the cuff. And then on the leg, like I said, I'm just picking up a mini as I go, and I've done 10 rounds of each. You guys hear that jet flying over? It's very loud. 10 rounds of each is what I'm doing on the leg. I will probably do 2 more collars and then do a heel. So I love doing, I mean, this looks like a Scrappy project that was done out of leftovers, but it was done out of mini skeins. I don't think a Scrappy project has to be out of leftovers. Use what you have. If you have scraps, you have some minis, put them together, have fun with it. Do as you wish, whatever makes you happy. So that's the first one. I've just been picking this up this past Sunday. I only did this right here. So from the cuff to the end of this collar was the Sunday before, and then that is all I did on this last Sunday. I didn't have a ton of knitting or crocheting time this last Sunday. But that is my newest project. Calvin's still wandering around the room. There's really not yarn out other than now there's that basket. I should probably move it over to the table. Otherwise, I don't think there's any yarn he could reach. And I don't think I said, I'm doing those on a US 1 2.25 millimeter needles. These are my signature Needle Arts DPNs. And I don't really have a preference on how I knit my socks as far as, do I like DPNs better? Do I like magic loop better? I just kind of go with whatever I feel like at the moment that I cast on. Whatever I feel like, whatever needles are free. I don't really have a strict favorite. My next work in progress is my crochet corner to corner blanket that I have in my Bags by Awesome Granny bag. And this thing is huge. And I realized, I think it was this last Sunday, I happened to think about this, that I should have put a marker in the last Scrappy Sunday video that I recorded in January so that you guys could see the actual progress that I made. So I have 2 markers sitting over here for my blankets so that I can do that. But this is all that's left of the magic knot cake that I made. And if you're not familiar with the magic knot, I do have a tutorial for that and I will link it down below. It's just a way of tying a knot in the yarn. And then you can make these fun little cakes, balls, whatever you wish, and then you don't have ends to weave in. Just tie that magic little knot. So this blanket, I learned this from a tutorial on YouTube. I think it was by Crochet Crowd, possibly. It is linked in my project page, which will be down below. And I am using a Tulip Etimo crochet hook, a 3.5 millimeter. These are my absolute favorite crochet hooks. I cannot recommend them enough. They're amazing quality and I love the grip that they have on them. So that's what I'm using for this. And I wish I could even remember what row I was on the last time. But I am now decreasing both sides. I think I talked last time about how I thought I was ready to decrease both sides. So I have started doing that. Well, I mean, that should tell somewhat of what I've gotten done because I had not started decreasing yet. So I think I might have done 1 or 2 more passes up and back before I started decreasing. So not a ton of work. It doesn't look like when you look at, oh, I've only went from there to there, but the rows are so big. So a row starts down here, goes all the way up to the other side. So they're very large rows. And it's gonna take a little while longer, but it's getting there. I feel good that I've actually started decreasing both ends and now I'm just working towards that final point. So it's kind of like there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're almost there. I love this project. I will be sad when it is done. Part of me will miss it desperately, but there's another part of me that is really, really itching to cast on another Cozy Memories blanket. I will pop a few pictures in here of the last Cozy Memories blanket that I finished back in August, maybe. It was in the August, September, I can't remember exactly, but I'm so itching to cast on another one, but I'm gonna be good and I'm gonna finish this blanket before I cast on another Cozy Memories. Yep, I'm gonna be good. This is gonna be one of my finished objects, but I think I was like, oh, I'm gonna finish the bits and bobs and then cast on a Cozy Memories, but I'm like, no, I think I only wanna have 2 blankets going at a time. And right now I have 2 crochet blankets. So finish one and then I can cast on a Cozy Memories blanket. So yeah, this is the crochet corner to corner. Like I said, the tutorial is linked in my project page and I will put that down below for you guys. It's such a fun project to work on and I love how crazy it is. Like, look at all of those colors. It's just so big and warm and snuggly. It's great. I'm probably gonna have to make another magic knot cake. I definitely don't think that's enough. Crocheting eats up so much more yarn than knitting does. So I'm gonna have to do another cake, but I'm gonna use that one up first or get it to where it's almost completely used up. Actually, I don't think, well, this might not be enough, but I do have, I forgot about these over here, a couple of little magic knot balls that I made this was from Advent yarn that was left, darker colors. And then this small one was what was left when I finished off my bits and bobs of the magic knot ball that I had going for it. So those 2 can be added once the cake that's already attached is done. Okay, I figured all this talk about Calvin, maybe he wanted to come say hello before I let him out of the room. He's looking at Chloe now, who is trying to come in. All of the animals have figured out that the door is open. Calvin, what are you doing? You like being in here? He's very interested in what Chloe is doing. They're not the best of friends. Huh? You're not the best of friends with the dog, huh? He's very rotten, Calvin. A lot of the times around the house you hear, Calvin, because he's into something. This morning he was into the bathroom trash cans. He loves to get into those and drag stuff all over the house. Don't you? Are you rotten? He's my boy though. All right, you ready to go out? The dog's right outside the door. You might want to stay in here. Okay, animals are out. Now let's move on to my last work in progress, which is my crochet granny stripe blanket. And I have this in a Christmas bag just because I love it so much and I'm not ready to put it up. This is from Jenny at Mountain State Stitches. I haven't done a ton of work on this blanket. I'm gonna add, I should have added before I put it back in the bag. I'm gonna get it back out here in just a second and add the marker in. I'm gonna put a marker in on this so that next month you'll see the progress, or if there was no progress, you'll be able to see that as well. I think I've done at least 2 minis. So at least the blue and this multicolored, I think. So that's where it is. It's folded double right now. It's a pretty wide blanket. A lot of fun to work on. I have the tutorial linked for this one in my project page as well. And how many stitches I cast on and all of that is over there. And I am using a 2.5 millimeter. Same kind of hook, a Tulip Atimo. And I don't know that I mentioned, all of my Scrappy projects are out of fingering weight yarn. I do have a basket in my cabinets with DK weight yarn scraps, but I haven't started anything with it. I don't work with DK weight a ton. Fingering weight is definitely what I work with the most. Let's add a marker before I forget. So yeah, everything Scrappy that I do is out of fingering weight. I would eventually like to start a DK weight blanket, and then that will definitely, I always think of these Scrappy projects, especially the blankets, as long-term projects. Not in a hurry to get them done. You know, it's just work on them as I can, and they'll get done when they get done. So a DK weight one for me would definitely be a long-term project because I don't work with them a lot to have a lot of leftovers to use. You could always buy mini sets. Okay, marker is added. So you can see next month where my progress was from. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull that other blanket out and add my marker on. Be right back. All right, markers are added. I feel like I definitely need a bigger bag for that corner to corner. It is just jammed down in there. Now, finished Scrappy projects. I have two. The first one is a pair of socks. So these were my January Desert Vista Dye Works socks. This is all Desert Vista Dye Works yarn that I used in the 2019 knit along. So she does a knit along each year with her yarn. You just have to knit a pair of socks a month with her yarn. And there she has all kinds of prizes and discounts. And if you do the whole year, you get an exclusive skein of yarn that she dyes just for those people that finish the whole year. So last year I did complete it. So I had 12 socks that I had leftovers from. So I knit these with the leftovers. They were a lot of fun to do. These blockers are from Burning Impressions. I will link it below just because I know somebody will ask. And I did 64 stitches, US 1, 2.25 millimeter needles. That is my usual. And then I did an afterthought heel, a true afterthought heel with no waste yarn. So there's the heel. It was so much fun to get to revisit all of these yarns that I had knit with last year, get to knit with them one more time. I really enjoyed this. I think this will be something I'll do next year as well with the leftovers from this year, assuming I finish this year. So the toe that I did is just a basic rounded toe. The instructions for that can be found in any of my patterns on Etsy or Ravelry, any of my sock patterns. And that's the first finished object. I had a lot of questions about how I managed my ends with doing Scrappy socks. I don't do anything special as far as, I know some people will knit them in as they go. They will knit over them to kind of weave them in so they don't have anything to do at the end. Some people do the magic knot. I've only ever done magic knot for blankets. So I can't speak for, you know, doing them for socks, how that works and holds up. I just knit the sock. When it's time for me to pick up a new yarn, I will drop the old yarn, pick up the new yarn and knit the next stitch with it. And then when the sock is completed, I will flip it inside out and weave in my ends. I have had questions about doing a video for that, so I do have plans when I finish this next Scrappy sock to do a video for you guys on how I weave in my ends. But yeah, I just weave them in on the inside of the sock. It's the inside, nobody's gonna see it. When I change my collars, I do it on the side of the sock. So there's nothing that's, you know, running down the bottom of my foot to bother me or anything. I actually have, oh, it's woven in. I just didn't cut it. It's like I still have an end in there. I haven't worn these yet. They've been on the blockers since I finished them. But you can see there where I have woven them in. So you can see there's nothing that's like special and hides them. I don't do anything crazy. I just weave it in on the back of the work. But that is the inside of the sock. Nobody's gonna see that. I mean, I guess if they were a gift and the recipient wanted to flip them inside out and critique that, but if they do that, I would make socks for them anyways. So yeah, you can't see where I wove them in on the outside of the sock. Like I said, I will try to do a video for you guys because I had a lot of requests about how I weave them in. Can I show how I weave them in? So I will do a little tutorial for you guys on how I do that once I finish this next Scrappy sock. So first finished object right there. The second one, you guys can probably hear those jets today. I cannot do a thing about that. They fly over some days all day long. Some days I don't hear them. I barely hear them. I think I kind of tune them out and I don't always notice the noise. But there's nothing I can do. I've told Eric, tell them not to fly over today because I'm recording. And he just laughs because he works with the jets on base. Anyways, that's just what happens when you live near a military base. But we've lived near them 14 years. So I don't notice it sometimes, but I do know that when I edit, I can hear it. All right, next finished object is this beauty right here. My Bits and Bobs blanket. This is a pattern by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears podcast. And I knit this. I'm gonna scoot the camera back and stand up so I can show you. This is a pattern that you can find on Ravelry. I will link my project page below. Scoot you guys back. That was a little wobbly, I'm sure. So I can show you the whole blanket. This is where I started. It was down here. There it is. So it's not huge. It's basically a lap blanket or a small throw size. Honestly, okay, I loved the process of this knit. When I was just over knitting it. I do not mean that as in the pattern is bad or the pattern is amazing. It is so mindless. I love the look of this. Absolutely love it. I think, you know, you get to that point in a project occasionally where it's just like, okay, I'm ready for this to be done to move on to something else. I don't get like that a lot because I am majorly a process knitter. I do it for the process. Sometimes I won't even wear the finished object. I just like the process. That's why I gift a lot of the things that I make because I'm a process knitter. But I just got to the point with this blanket where I was like, okay, I need something else. I need this to be done. Get some things off the needles so I can start some new Scrappy blankets. So that's what I did. After the last episode, I don't even think I knit another round. I just bound off. I am not doing a border on it. There are instructions for how you can do a border in the pattern. It's gonna be a lap blanket for in this room right here for when I sit in this chair and knit, and I'm happy, satisfied, and done working on it. So the yarns that I used for this, it is fingering weight held double. So I used a gray held throughout. And the gray is Knit Picks Stroll Fingering in the Dove Heather colorway. And then I used mini skeins from Swapless Swaps that were held in the Crazy Sock Lady podcast Ravelry group. And I would get a bag out. I think I have one back here. Let me grab it. Oh, something fell. They come in a bag like this, 10 40-yard minis. So I would just get a bag out, open a mini up, wind it in a ball, attach with a magic knot the next mini, wind it up just like that through the whole bag, and then I would hold that double with the gray dove heather so that it kind of, I feel like the dove heather helped to mute some of the brighter colors. This section right here is my favorite of the blanket, from like right here to right here. I love those purples, pinks, blues, greens. So that's definitely my favorite. This is the second finished object. So I have just been enjoying having it in here on the back of this chair. And if I come in here, and it's, this room in the winter is the coldest room in the house, and in the summer it's the hottest room in the house. So we're still in winter here in Phoenix, Arizona. So I've enjoyed coming in here and covering up with this blanket when it's a bit chilly in here. So it will definitely not be the norm that I have 2 finished objects every time I record, or even 1 finished object. Scrappy projects to me are such a languishing may not be the right word, long-term project. Like I said, I only work on them on Sundays, so they take a while, but you guys got 2 finished objects this week, or this month. It just happened that way. Hopefully by next month, I will have a really good amount of progress on my corner to corner. I'm thinking I could have it done in April. That's what I'm going to aim for, is to have it done in April. And I would love to have 1 scrappy sock done possibly by next month. We will see if those goals happen, but those are 2 goals I'm going to try to accomplish. Corner to corner, finished in April. By March, when I record the Scrappy Sunday video for that month, have the 1 scrappy sock done. I think that's all I have for you guys for this Scrappy Sunday. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope you feel inspired to work on your scrappy projects, to start some scrappy projects. If you've never started one, they are so much fun. I find so much joy in Scrappy Sunday. To me, it's like a reset. Hitting that reset button on Sunday, I get to sit down. I don't have to really think about whether, I'm designing something or I'm working from a pattern, and I don't have to think about it. I can just sit, knit, crochet, relax. It's just a great way to clear my mind. And I love going through Instagram on Sundays, looking at that hashtag and getting inspired by everything that y'all post. So be sure, if you're on Instagram and you participate in Scrappy Sunday, use the hashtag. I want to see what you're working on. Even tag me in it. I love when people tag me on Sundays so that if I miss it on the hashtag, I can go see what you guys are working on. So I will chat with you guys again about Scrappy projects next month in March. Until then, happy knitting. Bye.